Ordinary Lies was back. I remember when we reviewed the first episode of the first series, and you hated it completely. You were like, I lasted 20 minutes, blah, blah, blah. Let me just cue this up. This is the second series of Danny Brocklehurst's workplace anthology drama. This time we're in Wales with people like Kimberly Nixon and Angela Griffin. And in this first episode, we had Con O'Neill, who was most recently in Happy Valley. He plays like the sales manager, I think, who early on has an accident at work, goes home, finds there's like a bolt on the door. His wife's home. She should be at work, and he's wondering, is she having an affair? Like the first series, I don't know if you remember last year, where it's Ordinary Lies, was Jason Manford lying that his wife had died. And that was the premise for the first episode. This one it was slightly, it sort of, at the start, seemed slightly more believable in that he was paranoid about his wife, and we learnt going on that he'd previously been an alcoholic. He was sort of trying to get through that by working outside with like the scouts and things like that. Gary, let me just see, what did you think of this one? Did you enjoy it, or?
I would say I was pretty close to a 10-minute and out. I can't really tell you why I kept watching. I think possibly because
Did you watch the whole hour?
I watched the whole thing, and
wow,
and enjoyed it at the end. I think this was a 45-50-minute build-up to 10 minutes of very good television.
Well, what did you think of the reveal, Luke? Because the reveal was that she was part of like a To Catch a Predator gang who were hunting down paedophiles because their daughter had been abused when she was younger, and the wife, played by Jill Halfpenny, had never really gotten over it.
To be fair, I didn't see it coming, but I did think it was. I did think it was a tiny bit daft. If I'm honest.
Because like what I was thinking was, he's learnt from the first series where everything was outlandish. Like we had the drug smuggling one, we had Mackenzie Crook organising like a car theft to pay off his gambling
whilst also
debt.
having a double life, because that wasn't enough.
Whilst also having a second family. Whereas this, felt quite ordinary to an extent, that he thinks his wife is cheating on him, and he goes to the step of like rigging up cameras in the house, putting them in the fire alarms and things like that. It seemed believable until that final scene where everything went mental for 10 minutes.
Yeah. At one point as well, he also thought she might have been a lesbian because the people that she was bringing back to home were mainly women. He knew his son was smoking cannabis, but there wasn't really any explanation of where the thing ended up. And basically the thing ended up where, you're right, she was running this kind of like To Catch a Predator thing, and also his 17-year-old son was potentially having sex with an underage girl.
Yeah, he was 16, she was 13 or 14, wasn't she? And that was the thing
right.
It was the thing that their daughter had been groomed and abused by an older man, but he'd never sort of properly been charged. He'd got away with it, and Con O'Neill's way of coping with it was to become an alcoholic, start drinking, and Jill Halfpenny had done this, catching other people, catching men who sort of are trying to groom teenage girls on the internet.
The intriguing thing was right at the end with the letter to
Angela Griffin.
Was that from US prison services?
UK prison services.
UK prison services. Yeah. And I think we learn. Well, I think we know where we think that is going based on the previews for next week. We think
there was like a recurring thread throughout the last series, if I remember, where like Joe Joyner's husband had gone missing, and that was the sort of
the rarely seen Sean Dooley. Yeah.
Anyone sort of sticking with this, Luke? Do you want to pick up on a point?
My problem is that Danny Brocklehurst, who's done some good stuff, he cut his teeth on Clocking Off, which was another anthology series that I liked. He did Exile a few years ago. He's done some good stuff. But I don't know whether it's the age of TV we're living in or just the style of the show he's decided to do. But you have to enjoy this and just know that it's going to be bonkers. What I liked about Clocking Off was it told similar stories with proper characters, but never went bonkers. It always felt like those people really worked in that factory and these things were genuinely happening to them. I don't know whether it's the age of people wanting a big twist and wanting a big shock.
But I think already these characters are more likeable than the last lot. Yes, I think it might have to do with it. And with the actors, I mean, we like a lot of these people, Con O'Neill and Kimberly Nixon, who's in next week's one.
I think I will watch next week's because it focuses on her.
I feel exactly the same way. So
me too.
Beyond that,
so there you go.
So all three of us are going to stick with